What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along. It is Tuesday night. It is the late night agenda. And as always, I'm about 30 seconds late. But you wouldn't love me if I was on time. How are we all doing? Nice to have you guys in. We weren't supposed to have a stream today, but again, news just keeps popping up. And while news keeps popping up, we got to talk about it. So look, hope we're all well. Oliver, I seen your comment there, mate, about Leo's goals. I've just passed on a message to Connor to arrange that. We had touched base with him, but we hadn't put in a confirmed date. So I'm going to get Connor on that. We're going to get that organised ASAP because I do want to do a collab with Leo's goals. So we will get that in the books, mate. I've just messaged Connor. That's actually why I was late, believe it or not. I seen your message. I was messaging Connor. So we'll get that sorted because I do want to have a chat with him. So, look, good. How are we? Nice to see you all in. Appreciate the fact that you've given up some of your evening to have a chat with me. And, yeah, much love. No, you can't blame Connor on this one, Colin. It's probably as much my fault as anyone's. I thought we had a date in the books, but apparently we didn't. So we will sort that because that's a collab we need to get sorted, right? Because he's a good dude and... yeah, I very much want to catch up with him. So, look, broccoli, taunting me with the broccoli already, dude. Taunting me with the broccoli. So, look, loads to get through. Let me get my notes open here one sec. So, as you guys may or may not know, just while we're waiting for the chat to fill up, we'll get into some small talk. The motion to stop clubs basically taking loans of other clubs in their same family was defeated today. It needed 14 votes from Premier League clubs to block it. So to give you an example of this, the best way would be, let's think of the Ruben Neves deal, going from Saudi Arabia to Newcastle. That is going to be possible because of this vote today. So we're going to have a talk about that, and I'm going to tell you who voted to make sure that that can be kept, what clubs it was that shafted the rest of the Premier League. So I'll be filling you guys in on that. We'll be talking about the latest on Liverpool's transfer targets. We'll be speaking a bit about Gonzalo Inacio and a couple of other bits and pieces. Leo just hit 100k. That's brilliant. That's awesome. Fair play to him. Very well deserved. Yeah, nice one. That's brilliant. The more the merrier. And hopefully he has that beautiful YouTube silver play button on the way to him very soon. Because I know... Actually, let me just fix my camera 1 second. There we go. I know how much that silver play button meant to me when we got it. So I can only imagine Leo is similarly excited. So fair play to him. I want the gold one now. I won't lie to you. I want the gold one. So, look, loads to get through, as I said. How are you guys keeping? Anything you want me to cover, let me know in the chat. I'm in good form today, you know. I was supposed to have been in Manchester today, but I couldn't travel because I had to go to a physiotherapist today to get my neck checked out because I had a pinched nerve. Remember I was saying to you guys yesterday I had some medical stuff I need to get sorted, but I'm feeling a good bit better today, so yeah, nice one. Hello, sexy custard, not tubby custard, said Colin. How are you feeling today overall? Just made some buffalo chicken dip and have some relaxing time at home. Nice, nice, nice. Just finished baking a brownie actually, Colin. So yeah, I'm in good form. Good news. And I hope you're enjoying time at home. I'm a little dubious about that hoodie. I don't know what you're dubious about, mate. It's a fucking Ajax hoodie, so I've no idea what you're dubious about. But I also don't really care. You know, I'm not asking you to wear it, mate. Everyone thinks it's an Arsenal top when I wear it, but it's an Ajax top. If you look at the logo, it's an Ajax logo on it. And it's one of my favourite hoodies, so I'm going to continue to wear it. Right, let me just fix my position on screen because I don't think I'm in the right spot. There we go. That looks a little bit better, I think. Tiny bit down. There we go. And also, one of our Discord group, Ryan, he wanted me to let him know where you could get one of these. And I found it today in the Adidas store. They have their Black Friday week sale on, so it was 20% off. So I think there'll be another member of the Anfield Agenda community wearing one soon. Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Whenever Black Friday week comes along and the Adidas store has their sale on, already today I'm 3 hoodies and a jacket in, and I haven't even finished looking yet. I'm a sucker for sales, especially when it's on the old Adidas site. As you know, if there's one thing about me I'll consistently wear, it's Adidas. Picked up an Adidas hoodie at half price on Black Friday, said Goomy. We love that, mate. We love that. Well played to you. Right, let me just make sure I'm straight here. There we go. Yeah, I do love a Black Friday deal. Tyler Morton scoring for the under-21s. Nice. I heard that Harvey Elliott was getting booed by Everton fans every time he took to the field at Goodison playing for the under-21s. So I'm not going to say I'm surprised by that because, hey, they have their nickname for a reason, those Everton fans. And I've got another reason to be annoyed about Everton tonight, which I'm going to bring up in a few moments' time. So look, a few bits and pieces. We're going to be talking about Thiago Alcantara and why he may be off to Barcelona. We're going to be talking about which clubs voted against that proposal to stop clubs owned by the same benefactors loaning players to each other, and we're going to be covering a few other bits and pieces as well. So let's start off with a confirmation on the referee for the game on Saturday. So as you guys know, we travelled to the Etihad, 12:30 kickoff. It's going to be on Sky Sports, this one. I know normally we all associate the 12:30 kickoff with what used to be BT Sport, what is now TNT Sport, but they basically swapped over for this one. So Arsenal's game was supposed to be the early kickoff. That's the 5:30. Liverpool will be 12:30 on Sky, just so you guys know for that one. Also today, we've seen it confirmed who will be refereeing that very tricky, very important fixture. And it has been confirmed that Chris Kavanagh is going to be the referee for the game. Chris Kavanagh will be the man in the middle when Liverpool take on Manchester City at the Etihad on Saturday. So, look, I don't know if it makes any difference because in my book, they're pretty much all as bad as each other, Premier League referees. But just nice to know who's going to be shafting you this week, isn't it? So it'll be Chris Kavanagh in the middle for this one. Craig's programming malfunctioned. Yes, I needed a little kick to get me back. W beatbox. Yeah, I like to think when I fuck up, I try to lean into it, you know, rather than shy away and pretend it didn't happen. I like to lean into it and just play up the stupidity. Right. I hear Klana is willing to fund Andre to Liverpool if John W. Henry's wallet won't open. So on that one, there's more confirmation today that it's looking very, very likely that Andre will be on his way to Craven Cottage to play for Fulham. So we've long been interested in him, but so have they, in fairness. And it does look as though we're going to, but I say lose out. It looks as though we're not pursuing it. We're not following through with our interest. And the reports that came out yesterday suggested that that deal will be done in the coming days, not even weeks, days. So it feels like we are going to have a very quiet January by the looks of things. I guess I want to know how you guys feel about that. I expect maybe a couple of outgoings in the January window. Thiago Alcantara could be one of them. And as I mentioned, I will go back through that information in more detail in a bit. Apparently his brother is a City fan. No, he isn't. I mean, even if he is, he isn't. Because nobody's really a City fan. Let's be honest. Nobody heard of City a few years ago. So I refuse to believe anybody's a City fan unless they grew up in Manchester. Everybody else is a Johnny-come-lately glory hunting asshole. That's, you know, I will always refuse to acknowledge Manchester City have actual fans. Other than those hardcore ones that have been there through the difficult times. The rest just traded in their Chelsea jerseys for a Manchester City jersey. And I'm right. I can't understand why we aren't going in for Andre. I wish I had an answer, Nomad. I wish I did, but I think you're not alone. Every single person in this chat now probably feels exactly the same. Why on earth are Liverpool not in that conversation? It's crazy. So, Mark has just sent me maybe what is a bit of a good omen ahead of the game against Manchester City. So Mark has said that Liverpool have had Chris Kavanagh refereeing 15 times recently with 13 wins and 2 defeats. Manchester City's record with the same referee is played 8, won 5, drawn 2, lost 1. So I guess the omens are pretty good with Chris Kavanagh refereeing Liverpool. I mean, 13 wins, 2 defeats from 15. Not too bad. I don't know if that'll really have any impact in the game with the Etihad, but it's certainly building up to a massive, massive, massive Saturday in the Premier League. Craig, I'm so sick of the crap with transfers, said Whitehammer. Mate, I know me and you differ, Whitehammer, on a lot of things, and we're not afraid to let that be known. But on this one, mate, I think you're very much in the same camp as me. We're all frustrated. We're all annoyed. And we're all kind of unsure as to why, with the lack of following through on this transfer. I mean, I've got my own theories, but I've got nothing to back that up. So I'm not going to bring them to you guys, because it's just literally in my own head. Nothing. Mbappe, Craig, saving the money. Well, that's one of my theories. But, I'm not going to keep pushing the Mbappe train yet. I'm going to wait for a few more bits and pieces. So, interestingly, I read a piece today in the Echo, I think. Because I read a lot of stuff today. I think it was in the Echo. And the suggestion was that Liverpool's priority should be to sit down and negotiate a new deal with Mohamed Salah right now. And I very much agree with that. But that's all that is a theory or a notion. Because as of right now, there's no indication that Liverpool are sitting down to renegotiate with Mohamed Salah. We know he's got a year to go at the end of this season. You don't want to let that go into its last year. So I hope we hear something soon, because these aren't great omens right now. The idea that there's no real conversation taking place, at least that we're all aware of. Craig, is Costa's fine? He didn't start today against France. I think it's because it's pretty much a dead rubber, to be fair. Mbappe's on the bench for France as well in that game. I was checking it out earlier on. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think it's probably just because all the qualification places are already sorted. Greece are already finishing third place in the group ahead of Ireland, so I wouldn't worry about it. City to be given a point deduction for previous seasons if found guilty. Or can City, be given point deductions for previous seasons? I don't believe so, but it doesn't mean that hypothetically they couldn't have any trophies or silverware stripped from them if they were found to have breached. And on that, let's speak about City for a minute, because a little bit of transfer information came out today from Kieran Maguire, who was speaking with City Extra. Kieran Maguire, if you're not aware, is what I would say one of the best football finance opinions and experts in the UK. I've listened to him over the years speak about Liverpool's finances many times on the Echo and on their podcast, and look, he very much knows what he's talking about. So, Kieran Maguire said that Liverpool are the club leading the push to resolve Manchester City's financial fair play case, applying the pressure on the Premier League to resolve the investigation. Liverpool ideally want a verdict to be reached before the start of the 2024-2025 season. So, basically what Kieran Maguire is saying here is that Liverpool are the ones really, really pushing this, and that Liverpool ideally want a solution before the start of next season. I don't know how likely that is, in all honesty. The journalist that I had been reading stuff from recently seemed to think a minimum of 2 years before that Manchester City case is resolved, which is why we did yesterday's video saying 6.5 years in total. So, look, in one way, I'm proud, because we should be at the forefront of that list, looking to push that investigation, because we're the ones who've been shafted potentially the most from what Manchester City have done. Like, I know people like to try and play it out like Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp pushed each other on to great heights, blah, blah, blah. But one of those dudes was unquestionably doing it by the book. The other one, we still don't know the answer to that. So, yeah, fair play. Fair play to FSG, fair play to the club. But it does make you wonder what the appetite is like for the other Premier League clubs around this situation. How strong are other people's resolve to have Manchester City, I don't want to say found guilty, because we don't know yet, but I hope that Liverpool aren't ploughing a lonely furrow here. I hope there's more clubs backing us up, because it's right and wrong. This is the biggest test case, I think, in my lifetime for an English club. The potential sanctions here are huge. I'm trying to think of who told me something earlier on. I have a bit of information, but I want to figure out who told it to me. So maybe it was Adam in his Top of the League show earlier on, and fair play to Adam as well on that one, another great show. I think there's been some correspondence, no, I think it was Connor actually, some correspondence between the English government and the Saudi government, or the Saudi tourism, about the deal that allowed West Ham to be bought by the PIF. Not West Ham, Newcastle, sorry. Newcastle to be bought by the PIF. Which again makes it all grubby. And like I've said, there is geopolitical influence in these things. It goes above and beyond just footballing decisions. If we get Mbappe, we'd score 5 goals a game. I know. Be great, wouldn't it? So look, which topic do you want me to discuss first? Thiago Alcantara, or the vote that took place today amongst the Premier League clubs to try to stop clubs loaning from other clubs in their family? Which one of those two? The loan option thing or the Thiago thing? You let me know in the chat and we'll go from there. Oh, this is split. The vote, Thiago, the vote, Thiago, Thiago. Vote, loan, vote, loan. Okay. I don't know who won that because there's both answers going on. But you know what? We'll fly through them both. So, I feel like the easiest one to start discussing is the Thiago situation. We'll go from there and then we'll work backwards because I feel like it's going to be a longer conversation when we look at the vote that took place today between the 20 Premier League clubs. So, this comes from a Spanish outlet. So, to give this context, the reason why Thiago Alcantara to Barcelona has come back up is because Gavi has suffered an injury that will see him basically finish the season. I think he's going to be about 7 or 8 months out. He suffered an ACL injury. I think it's to his meniscus, if I remember reading it correctly. So, Gavi is out. And as you know, Barcelona haven't really got much money to play with, but they need to bring in somebody to help in that midfield area. So the report in Spain said that Barcelona are interested and meets the requirements. Thiago Alcantara meets the requirements of Barcelona as his contract runs out at the end of the season, and it's claimed that Liverpool would not put any obstacles in his way over a possible return to the new camp. Now, without the injury to Gavi, I would have said unlikely that this holds any water. But I'm intrigued to see how you guys feel about this. Like, let's go to a poll. I think that's the easiest way. Because we're not going to get a transfer fee out of this. So, should we let Thiago join Barca on a free? So, should we let Thiago join Barca on a free? Now, keep in mind, Thiago's contract is out at the end of this season. I'm sure you're aware of that one already. So do keep that in mind when voting. The upside for Liverpool, I guess, would be the potential to remove 200 grand a week or so, or 220 grand a week off the wage books, because he would be one of Liverpool's higher earners. Rachel, thank you, my friend. Again, very kindly, Rachel has gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. So, my thought process is let Thiago go. Let him go. If it works for everybody, and I've said this consistently over the past few months, I don't see where Thiago forces his way back in. And even if he does, he's going to be going in the summer. We're not going to extend his deal. I know that there was some conversations at the start of the season. A couple of journalists were saying that Liverpool were running the rule over the idea of giving Thiago a new contract. I've not seen anything new on that, and you would have to suggest that the fact that he still isn't fit and available and we're heading towards December, the likelihood of him getting or deserving that new deal is diminishing as the days go by. Of course, you'll be respectful, and you always have to be when you're talking about a player who's had the career Thiago has had, but for me it just feels like if it works for everybody, why not? Now, there is another aspect to this. There's that friction between Liverpool and Barcelona, which is there and has been there for quite a while. Barcelona, of course, still one of the clubs that are in the Super League, or themselves, Juventus and Real Madrid, still pushing the Super League. So I don't know if Liverpool have any interest in helping out Barcelona, but if you look at it just from the numbers perspective, getting, 6 months at 200 grand a week, 800 grand a month, let's say, 6 months, it's about 5 million quid roughly off the wage books there if they can move him on and Barcelona cover all of his wages. So Whitehammer said, according to Choblo, is that how I pronounce that one, mate? Fluminense has not received any offers for Andre after the Copa Libertadores title, and the midfielder is not close to any club at the moment. It's an open race. Yes, sir. I love what you've done there, by the way, with that comment, with the bold things. It looks very good, Whitehammer. Well played, sir. I hope you're right, dude. I very much hope you're right, because let's lean into this Thiago story and bring it and link it together with Andre. So if what my friend Whitehammer there has said is true, that makes it even more likely for me that we should be willing to let Thiago go. So, yeah, if you can save 5 million quid in wages, 5 million quid, 5 million quid. So if it works for Barca, if the numbers add up for them, to make a short-term deal there because of the Gavi situation, I'd do it, personally. But look, the poll is open and we'll leave it open there for a while. Right, let's go through some of your comments. Bro said swap Thiago with Gavi. I didn't say that. I know I definitely didn't say that. But yeah, Gavi's out with an ACL injury. I don't know if it's a full tear, if it's a meniscus or whatever, but I think 7 months was the time period that looks like he's going to be out for. So it kind of makes sense that they'd look for somebody who can help them, you know, thread the balls through the eye of a needle. And what do we do with the money? Which money? The money for Thiago's wages? I mean, I guess you look to reinvest it elsewhere, or either way, look, it's surely better having wages off the books for a player who hasn't really kicked the ball for us this season. So in that sense, I'd definitely take the money if it was on offer, like take the removal of the wages. Oh, not me. Cool. Good. Sorry. Because sometimes I get confused because I know I'm going through the chat and you guys sometimes are chatting with each other. I would do, because that's 800k a month off the book, said their Wizzy lover. 123 PJ Dermot said, should we sell Diaz and sign Mbappe? Poll. I'll get to that. No problem, mate. I've no problem asking that question to the chat. I'll get to that in a few minutes. Just give me a reminder, buddy, in case I forget. VVD has been subbed out in the Holland game. Thank God. I couldn't believe Koeman, the cheeky git, actually played him. Away against Gibraltar, they've already qualified. Virgil has a huge game coming up on Saturday, and Koeman still trots him out for this absolute useless dead rubber against Gibraltar. So, yeah, at least he's come off anyway, so that's good news. Gavi and Thiago will be sitting next to each other on the treatment table. Yes, but if it's not our treatment table, surely that's a good thing. I'd take a bowl of Scouse and a pint for Thiago, said Kevin. Nice, nice. Right, look, I did say to you we'll do the Thiago stuff and then we'll circle back around to the vote that took place earlier today. So let's give you some context on this vote and we'll break it down bit by bit. So, Premier League clubs, this is from The Athletic, Premier League clubs have voted against a proposal to fast-track a ban on loan moves from players moving into England's top flight between associated clubs in the January transfer window. The Athletic reported earlier this month that all 20 clubs were to vote on the proposed ban. The vote at the meeting at the Churchill Hotel in London today needed at least 2/3 majority. So you needed to get 14 clubs to vote in favour of this proposal to ban loans between associated clubs. But only 13 clubs voted in favour of it, meaning that the motion failed. And in theory, let's say, and to use an example, let's say Ruben Neves came from Saudi to Newcastle on loan. That would be fine under this because it was voted down. But it gets a little bit more interesting. Let me tell you the reported 7 clubs that have blocked this from happening. And then it becomes a little bit more interesting. So, the Times Sport have said that the 7 clubs that voted against the proposed ban of Premier League clubs signing players from other clubs they're related to are Manchester City, Newcastle United, Chelsea, no surprises there. Those 3, absolutely, I expected them to vote in favour of keeping the status quo. Forest, Sheffield United, Wolves, and here's the last one, Everton. Everton. So Everton were one of the clubs that voted against the idea of the multi-club ownership clubs being allowed to send their players back. So here's what I hope happens right now. I hope that Ruben Neves comes from Saudi Arabia to Newcastle and scores the goal that relegates Everton. I hope that happens, and they'll have absolutely nobody to blame, and nobody will listen to any of their whining and crying and bitching, because they voted for that. They voted to allow that to happen. So, fuck them. That's shocking. City, Newcastle and Chelsea, I totally understood. They all have relationships and feeder clubs and all this stuff. I knew that they were going to vote that way. Forest, not really surprised. On they have relationships with Olympiacos and stuff like that. So again, no surprise to see that their owner be looking to keep that possible avenue open. Sheffield United, I need your help on. Sheffield United, are they part of a multi-club ownership model? I know that they've recently enough been taken over, right, in the past while. So I'm not really sure what the situation is there. And Wolves, well, look, we know the Wolves' connection to a lot of Portuguese, preferably George Mendes type players. So I guess I'm not really surprised to see Wolves' name there. But Everton, I am. I'm very surprised that Everton have voted to keep that open. Because they look like they're the swing vote in that for me. If they needed 14, they got 13, and Everton was one of those clubs that voted to keep it as it was. I hope it comes back to bite them in the ass, because they won't be able to moan. Their fans won't be able to go on TalkSport or anybody and start talking about conspiracy theories, because them fuckers will have been part of the problem. Sheffield United are owned by a Saudi royal too. So see what's already happened? Those floodgates that were open previously are now stopping this motion being knocked back. So by letting all these vultures, for want of a better phrase, in through the Premier League gates and to own these clubs, now they can't even block it anymore, because they're not getting enough clubs needed to stop this. At 14, they only managed to get 13. So I guess as of right now, there's nothing to stop shenanigans. And yeah, welcome to modern football, my friends. Genuinely, really shocked to see Everton's name on that list. Elliott goal versus Northern Ireland. Sweet, we like that. How are Sheffield United horrible if they're owned by a Saudi royal? What? Who said they were horrible? The whole lot of this is horrible. The idea that, let's say, Newcastle can take any player playing in the Saudi league that's owned by the PIF and drop them in. Like, there's nothing now to stop, let's say, Al Hilal buying Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland and Gavi, bringing them to Saudi Arabia and loaning them straight to Newcastle. Nothing to stop that. That's why this is a joke. That's why this vote today was important. Because now all bets are off, apparently. So if Ruben Neves does indeed come into Newcastle from Saudi Arabia, it's within the rules. And it sickens me, to be honest with you. Can you please say happy birthday to my daughter Layla? Absolutely, Layla, happy birthday. 16 as well, sweet 16. Awesome. Hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you're being spoiled rotten. And yeah, many happy returns, my friend. The state-owned club model should be banned from football. Mate, I don't want to be the lad that keeps coming on saying I told you so, but I've told you so. I was one of the few people for years speaking up against this state-backed ownership model. I was one of the few people for years banging and screaming about Manchester City and what they're at. And I was just told to shut up. And I'm salty. and I'm bitter and I'm jealous and all this shit. Now the chickens are starting to come home to roost, and people are starting to see why I was speaking up and why I was worried about the health of the English game. Because this stuff is disgusting. It's disgusting. Welcome to the end of the beautiful game. Yep. And the Premier League have allowed this to happen on their watch. So again, I'm going to ask the question. Who's looking out for football? Who's looking out for the Premier League? Who's looking out for the fans? Who's protecting the game? Because it wasn't on my watch that this was allowed to happen. It wasn't on your watch. It was on the people running English football that allowed this to happen. And make no mistake, this didn't happen without a little leaning on, a little sprinkling of opinion, shall we say, by governments and those in power. Don't let anybody fool you. This is more than just a footballing decision. I've said this many, many times. Look at where the money in London is coming from. That gives you a great indication of the state of play. What I mean by that is, it used to be Russian money, oligarch money. That money is all of a sudden bad money, so that money had to go away. What's come in to replace that money? Middle Eastern money, Saudi money, Dubai money, Abu Dhabi money. All come in to buy up all them Kensington properties and to invest in green technology in the UK. And why are they doing that? Why are they doing it? They're not doing it for the good of their health. They're doing it for influence. They're doing it for soft power. They're doing it so that this shit can happen. It is all linked. It is all disgusting. And it is all happening right in front of our eyes. Money talks, Craig, money talks. No problem with money talking, but it's what money talks and how loudly it talks. So, I've said a phrase to you guys for a long time, and it's one I'll die on this hill. When you remove jeopardy, when you remove danger, when you remove financial ruin as a possibility for a football club to need to operate as a business, you're in slippery slope territory. Because if your club doesn't need to turn a profit or break even because it's been propped up by a nation's economy or a sovereign wealth fund, I don't understand how you can compete with that. It's impossible. It's impossible to compete with that if you're trying to operate a legitimate business that breaks even and makes money. You can't do it. Is that an Ajax jacket? Yes, mate, it's an Ajax hoodie. So, Gonzalo Inacio, let's move on to talk about him for a little bit. So there was a report yesterday, and I believe, not yesterday, the day before, and it came from Dave O.C. Kopp's website, if my memory is correct. And that report said that Liverpool are willing to pay the release clause of Gonzalo Inacio to leave Sporting Lisbon. And those of you who were watching at the time probably remember me being a little bit perplexed by this, a little bit confused as to how that made any sense. Well, LFC Transfer Room posted today, and they said the latest reports about Gonzalo Inacio and Liverpool being the favourites to sign him come from El Nacional CAT, and they say, we stopped reporting on them because, as many of you know, the source is incredibly bad, so don't bother believing that until we have a better source claiming it. Again, I told you it made no sense to me. I'm actually glad that this is seemingly horseshit, because the idea of Liverpool spending 20 million quid more than we needed to 6 months ago for a player, it would just be the height of stupidity. So again, I will say to everybody, when you see something on social media and you see a very bold claim, ask why that claim is there and what they're trying to do with it. So, are they trying to get you to their website? And are they trying to get you to their website with a bit of a bold, strange claim. And why would they be doing that? Well, of course, to generate ad revenue for the website. Now, I'm not cleaner than thou or holier than thou on this. I want people to come on Anfield Agenda. I want people to click our thumbnails. I want people to watch our streams. But I stand over everything I say. I tell you guys, every story we come with, we take from a website, and I tell you exactly where it comes from. Then we discuss it, and we talk to each other about whether we think it's bullshit or not. But there's a lot of people out there who I think, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in particular here. I'm certainly not blaming Dave O.C. Cop. I don't know the man. But there's a lot of people out there who know better, is probably the best I can say. That know that the stuff that they're speaking about is bullshit. But they've got vested interests in it. So they run with it. Am I a North Sider or a South Sider? Very, very much a South Sider. Shankill, the furthest part of this outside. Sources on Andre to Fulham are not very reliable either, said Jay Muse. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who that original source was for the Andre to Fulham move. I think, if I'm not mistaken, was not a Brazilian journalist. I mean, I can probably look back through my notes and find it out. Bear with me. Was it this dude? Yeah, so it was this guy, Jorge Nicola. Again, followed by some prominent journalists. He's followed by Fabrizio, Bruno Andrade, and a couple of others. He's got 385,000 followers. But, again, it's very difficult, isn't it, when you've got, one, a language barrier to overcome, and two, somebody popping up from the other side of the world on a story. Because you think, normally as human beings, we think, oh, Brazilian journalists, they're going to know a bit more about this story, obviously, because they're, their feet on the ground. So let's wait and see what happens here, because I truly have no idea. This isn't a transfer story that I'm about to come out with. It's actually just a fact. So there was a study carried out looking at player statistics, how they play, what type of systems they play in. And what they looked for in this study, it's probably the right word, is what player is the most suitable to come in and replace Mohamed Salah stylistically, numerically, and who do you think came out as the answer? Some of you may have already read this report, some of you may not. But who do you think it is? Who do you think's the player that is a perfect fit for Liverpool and would be an absolute ideal replacement according to the numbers? No, not Bowen. No. You're on the right track. The player does play in the Premier League. So I'll give you some hints. Other players who came up very high on this list were Vinicius Jr. from Real Madrid. Now that's never going to happen, but that wasn't the point of this bit of research. So Vinicius Jr.'s name was very high up on the list. Let's see if any of you've got it yet. No, not seeing it yet. No, there we go. Anto Man's the first one I've seen to put it in. The answer was Diaby. Was Diaby from Aston Villa. He was the answer. Apparently, numerically, statistically, and with any other data they ran, he's the answer to who would be the ideal replacement to drop into the Liverpool team should Mohamed Salah leave. Again, I'm not saying that's the right answer, that's the wrong answer. I'm just telling you that was the answer that they came up with. Now, they did say, obviously, price-wise, and the fact that he's at Aston Villa, another Premier League club, that would be a very, very, very difficult deal to make. Gabriel Martinelli was also very high on that list. I'm trying to think who else. Saka wasn't on it. I'm trying to think what other players there was in Europe that they had on that list that numerically and the way they play would have worked out. But yeah, Vinny Jr. was high up, Martinelli was high up. By the way, I know Martinelli plays on the left. I didn't do this research. But yeah, Diaby. Again, I'm not saying we're trying to buy Diaby. I made that very clear when I started the little segment there. It was research done. I think it might have been... I think I read it in The Athletic, you know. Oh, Diaz and Mbappe poll. Thank you, my friend. I did say to record to remind me on that one. So, one sec. So, we said... Should we let Thiago join Barcelona on a free? 63% of you guys have said yes. 37% said no. So now we will do the poll that my friend there reminded me for. So 1 second. Right. Would you sell Diaz to get Mbappe? Straightforward yes or no question. So have at it. We'll leave that poll run for a while as well. Michaela said Diaby's a brilliant player, so influential at Villa. Realistically, the best replacement is Mbappe, though. So, in an ideal world for me, one of these two things happens. Liverpool keep Mohamed Salah, sell Diaz, and have Mbappe, Darwin, Salah. Or, if Salah wants to move on, Liverpool cash in on Salah, move Diaz over to the right-hand side, and have Mbappe, Darwin, Diaz. I'm more than happy if any version of that ever comes to reality. How much would Diaby cost? I have not got a clue, Caleb. So, I want to say Villa paid about 50 million for him, but I could be wrong on that. But I think 50 million euro in and around that. And you would imagine that Villa would demand a premium, but they're not going to want to sell. Villa are a club that are very much building to be a Champions League club with owners that are ambitious and have money. Mbappe, Salah, Nunez, the new MSN. So, for everybody that says no to the Mbappe stuff, tell me why you're saying no. Realistically, I know some people don't like the idea of his attitude, and I absolutely respect that. No issues with that. But if your no to this is because of money, it's possible. Financially. It is possible. The attitude thing, that's a fair point, and I don't know the answer to that because I don't know Kylian Mbappe. But my pushback on that has always been, if it ever got to the point where Klopp said, let's get this dude, I'd be very certain that Klopp was convinced that there would be no attitude issues to bring into the dressing room. I don't think Klopp would do that. So if it got to the point where it was feasible or was looked at, I think we'd have gone past the attitude stuff. So after that, he has to go somewhere. I keep saying this. He has to go somewhere. He's not going to stay at PSG. I absolutely can't see that happening unless there's a huge turnaround there. Real Madrid are the obvious answer. But if they're true to their word and they're walking away, somebody's going to have to get Mbappe and on a free, as much as he will be on a free. I know there'll still be a huge signing on fee and all. I love Mbappe, but I might get saying it because when I started watching supporting Liverpool, Diaz was the first signing I saw and I loved him since day one. Look, Lucho's brilliant. And I guess the only reason Lucho's name is even coming up in conversation is because of his father's comments. You know, if that hadn't come about, I'd still seen the reports of Barca's interest in Lucho, but I think his father's comments have made many of us just a little bit more concerned if that tapping up from Barca's already started. What do you think about Lucas Beraldo? So from what I don't know much about the kid, but if I remember correctly, he's the guy from the Sao Paulo club, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure somebody like Fabrizio Romano said recently that they believe he's probably a move away from being ready for a top club, so maybe not there just yet. I remember us being linked with him. I want to say that he's from one of the clubs from Sao Paulo, but I don't think he's ready for the Premier League yet anyway. Craig, if Mbappe's going on a free, what's to stop Real still getting him? Money. So we say on a free, but he will still probably command a signing on bonus of, I don't know, I wouldn't say 100 million euros to be out of the question for a signing on bonus. Then you have Mbappe's wages of north of £1 million a week. So if you're Real Madrid and you're in a rebuild, and they are, and you've brought in Jude Bellingham, and you've got Vinicius Jr. there, and you've just given Rodrigo a new deal, you've got Endrick coming in from Palmeiras, and you still have deficiencies in your squad. They need 2 fullbacks, and they probably need another midfielder when Kroos and Modric move on. So if you're Real Madrid and you're looking at your list of priorities right now, is signing an attacking player a priority? No, it isn't. Valverde, Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Endrick, Bellingham playing very far forward, and other young players. So they need fullbacks and they need a midfielder. I have a gut feeling, and it is just a gut feeling, that Real Madrid are going to make a big play for Jamal Musiala. I've thought that for quite a while now, that will be their midfield rebuild. The Bellingham, Musiala, Camavinga. It's scary to think about it, but I think that's what they'll try to do. Also, Alphonso Davies looks like he very much wants to go to Real Madrid. So they only have so much money to play around with. Kubo for Salah. Oh yeah, that's another one for Real Madrid actually, sorry. If Real Madrid want to bring back Kubo, they can get him for about 30 million euro in the summer. I think that's their buyback clause. I think his sale clause is 60 million, but if Real come back in, they could get him for 30, so they could turn a profit on selling him as well. Valentin Barco for Matip, future left back. We talked about him yesterday actually, mate. Gabriel Moscardo for Thiago, Mbappe for Diaz, Liverpool 2.0. So Valentin Barco really excites me. Now, I'm not trying to say we're signing him. I'm not trying to say we're not signing him, but we spoke about him yesterday. I've watched loads of little clips on him. He's a very attack-minded young left-back, bundles of energy. And as I said yesterday, I can absolutely see him in a Klopp system. Coop said just subscribed. Welcome in, mate. Madrid wants Wirtz too. Yes, I'd seen that, John. I can't push back against that, mate. I've definitely seen lots of links for Real Madrid with Florian Wirtz. Tuchel wants Mbappe at Bayern. I mean, look, Bayern have the money to make that happen. So, yeah, potentially Bayern could be an option. They definitely have the money. They're one of the clubs in Europe that are very careful, very good with their finances, and are very healthy in that regard. So I can't really knock that, other than, would that be the move for Mbappe? You know? Would Mbappe... Because I think Mbappe is going to ask himself one really big question. Can I win a Champions League and a Ballon d'Or at my next club? I think that's going to be the overriding question for Mbappe in his next move. Could he do that at Bayern? I guess yes, potentially. But would they want Mbappe and Harry Kane kind of, I don't want to say fighting over the goals? Is Canade fit for Saturday? Don't know the answer to that yet, Michael. Don't know the answer to it, and we probably won't see it until Kloppo's press conference a bit closer to the time, mate. It doesn't look like it was a major injury. It looks like it was just a tweak, but I can't give you a definitive answer So Mark has let me know that Diaby cost 43 million with about 8.9 million in add-ons. Thank you, Mark, for that one. When's Stefan back? Again, nobody knows the answer. And it's not just me on this, because I've looked long and hard. No one knows the answer yet for Stefan. First of all, Endrick will not be ready to just start for Real Madrid. So yes, we do need Mbappe and we'll eventually get him. Second of all, we have enough midfielders. Well, one, Endrick is absolutely expecting to come and start, and he got a guarantee that Real Madrid won't go for Mbappe, or not Mbappe, Haaland. Two, you don't have plenty of midfielders because you don't rate too many. Modric and Kroos will head off at the end of the season, basically leaving you with what? Valverde, Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, who will be there. So I'm not making up Jamal Musiala out of my back pocket here, pal. I'm telling you what I know from speaking to very well-placed sources in Spanish football. And again, you can do the Mbappe dance all you want. I'm not saying you will or won't go there. I'm saying if we take you, Real Madrid, at face value, you've said no Mbappe. So, and the fucking entitlement of you and those Real Madrid fans makes me want to piss myself. Shall I tell you how much respect I have for Real Madrid fans? It's about on a par with the respect I have for Manchester City fans, because you are the most entitled, arrogant, arsehole set of fans I've ever seen. Imagine signing Hazard for 100 million quid and crying that you want Mbappe at his unveiling. Imagine booing Ronaldo. It takes a special kind of entitlement to feel that way about football. Crazy. Crazy. Genuinely, it's crazy. Craig, I respect Madrid and Barca as clubs, but both their sets of fans are arrogant and entitled. Agreed. And I say that as somebody who's a Barcelona fan. But yeah, the fans on social media are crazily entitled. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the same set of fans, by the way, and you can't push back on this, by the way, Real Madrid fan, because I can show you 50 and more comments. You fuckers didn't want Bellingham. You whinged that Bellingham was overhyped and that you didn't want them, that you wanted Mbappe. Pages upon pages of it. Do you like him now? Do you want Bellingham now? Now that he's saving Real Madrid. All of a sudden now, those entitled asshole Real Madrid fans that don't know their arse from their elbow, who didn't want Jude Bellingham, are now lauding him and calling him the GOAT. That's Real Madrid's fan base for you. I mentioned BARCA a few times over the last 2 months, mate. You never saw my messages. Also, look into Moscardo, who we've been linked with. I will certainly look into Moscardo, buddy. Thank you. And on BARCA, yeah, I was late to that party, certainly, because I myself had also seen Liverpool linked with him. But I tell you, honestly, when I'd seen the name BARCA come up, it was the other Barco that was in my head, because there's another Barco, is it Ezekiel, who plays in midfield, and I was getting confused, and I was thinking, that doesn't make sense. I've watched Barca play, he doesn't really do it for me. So yeah, I was definitely late to the list, or late to the show with Valentin Barco. Who's your favourite musician? I don't know if I have one. You know, I struggle to have a favourite anything except football club, because, you know, we all like lots of different types of music, lots of different types of films, lots of different types of shows. Oasis would probably be the answer for my favourite band. Oh, by the way, I also got confirmation today that Liverpool have zero interest in signing Leroy Sané. Zero. So we can put that in the bin. And I mean, more than one person today, when I was messaging, told me that that's nonsense. It's just to get him a new deal at Bayern. So you don't have to worry about Leroy Sané. As a Madrid fan, I enjoy your channel and content, but at the same time, Vinny and Rodrigo Endrick will start being a bench player, even playing in the second team. So Vinny Jr. is amazing. I'm not sure I'm supposed to pronounce your name, mate. That's on me. Apologies. So Vinny Jr., big fan. Love the kid. Love his attitude. Love his spikiness. Love his fight. Love his stance on the racist stuff. Very proud of the kid. Great player. Rodrigo, silky smooth. Wonderful. You did the right thing tying him down to a new deal. Endrick, I'm unsure of yet. I know he's a prodigy, and usually when Real Madrid and Barca make these type of signings from Brazil, they get it right. So on those three, top notch. Bellingham, look, he's doing his thing, isn't he? And I have a feeling that they're going to go for Musiala. Now, you will know better than me, and better than most in the chat as a Real fan, that you need fullbacks, and you're looking for fullbacks. And there's Real Madrid type fullbacks have a particular DNA, right? They're a particular style of fullback. You think of Marcelo, you think of Roberto Carlos. So you can see whether being linked with Alphonso Davies, whether being linked with Trent, whether being linked with Reece James. But there's only so much money to go around, and Florentino Perez has done a great job with the revamp of the Bernabeu. It's incredible. I just don't know. I would say if you want Mbappe, you get him. 100%. If you want Mbappe, there's nobody else coming in for him. It's Real Madrid. But I don't know if that's a public stance that's real, that Real Madrid don't want them, or if it's just to keep PSG from taking them to court. Sorry, I'm trying to play... Gakpo scored, has he? Nice, well played. Real Madrid's own president was the one who said Endrick will go into the first team, and did the Madrid fans actually listen to their club? Said X-Pulse. I would choose Gabriel Moscarda over Andre, Thiago 2.0. I promise you, mate, I will do my research on him, and I will have more of an in-depth response for you when we next chat. Double for Mr. Harvey Elliott tonight as well. Yes, sir. Well done, Harvey. So is there anything that you guys want me to go back over from people who came in late? I've one more story that I haven't spoken about today. It's a bit of an odd one, but I guess it could hold some water, and let me explain why to you. So Spurs could face an FA investigation over a transfer. Nothing too unusual about that, right? Problem is here, though, the transfer was in 2008. It says today that the FA is reportedly looking at new evidence of Spurs possibly breaking financial rules when selling Jermaine Defoe to Portsmouth in 2008. The Times have made the claim that Daniel Levy and Harry Redknapp, who was at the time the Portsmouth manager, dealt with an unlicensed agent while negotiating the transfer. It was also pointed out that Luton Town were deducted 10 points in League 2 for a similar breaching of the rules last season. And this emerges after, of course, Everton were docked 10 points for breaking financial or profit and sustainability rules. So let's see what happens here. Because weirdly, if there's a precedent already set, granted, outside of the Premier League for Luton, who were deducted 10 points, if Spurs are found guilty of this, will they be deducted 10? Now, what's important to point out here is, although it's 2008, as we've mentioned many times over the past few weeks, there is no statute of limitations for the Premier League for investigations. There is in UEFA, I think it's 3 to 5 years, but in the Premier League, there's none. You can go back to 1992, if you so wish, for an investigation, I believe. So, I have no idea if that comes of that or not, but I just thought I'd bring it to you guys because it was a story that caught my eye today. The FA are doing all of this because of an independent regulator. Oh, they definitely do not want that independent regulator, mate. You're right. So the fan-led review, I think it was by Tracy Crouch, if I'm not mistaken, did suggest that the Premier League should bring in an independent regulator, and the Premier League are pushing back and trying to clear house, basically trying to clean things up, and that's why a lot of people believe the Everton punishment was so harsh, because they're trying to show that they can regulate the league themselves, that they can look after these issues without an independent outside body. I'm kind of torn on this, the whole regulator thing, because to some extent, I don't like anybody self-policing and self-governing. It doesn't usually work out well. But the reason that I get really annoyed about football self-governing is because when you've got idiots like UEFA who don't even know how to apply their own rules and are chasing people for time-barred issues like Manchester City, and then when they do bring up people for falling foul of FFP, that those can be appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Luzerne. The Premier League don't have that process. Again, Premier League clubs can't go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport for any punishment. So I'm torn on self-governance, because usually they look after their own, you know what I mean? They don't want to ruin their own association. So the question I'd have is, what powers would an independent body or regulator really have to hold these people accountable? Because it'd have to be fairly robust. Have you watched the documentary Britain's Biggest Football Scandal? No, I haven't, mate, but I would very much like to. Can you tell me where I can find it, Mr. Palmer? So I've watched the Super League documentary, which, by the way, was awesome. 4-part series on Apple. And I was in it. Didn't know I was in it, but I had a tiny little cameo in it. As was Adam, actually. As was True Geordie. As was Togden. And some others. But no, I'd really like to watch that. So, mate, let me know where I can watch it, and I promise you I'll be all over that. I agree with everything you said. I just don't think Real Madrid will ever walk away from the Mbappe deal after so many years. That's the only thing. So, I had a theory about Madrid and Mbappe that obviously last year it looked like it was going to happen, right? It looked like Mbappe was about to make that move. And Madrid were kind of all in. And then Mbappe opted to stay at PSG, and it looked like they left Real Madrid high and dry. So I've always had this belief that Madrid are extra cautious and careful about Mbappe because they don't want to look foolish twice. Florentino Perez does not want his beloved Real Madrid being shown up twice here, because in his eyes, it's Real Madrid. You don't get two chances. So it's very interesting to see what happens. If Madrid make a play from, he goes there. I have no qualms about that, mate. I think Liverpool are the best of the rest, though, if I'm being really honest. If Madrid are genuinely out, I think Liverpool's a real possibility. Paulinho signed with Bayern already? Don't think so. The deal fell through. Fulham didn't sanction it at the end of the summer window. I think there's an agreement that they revisit this deal in January, alright, but I don't know if it's legally set in stone or not. But look, I fully expect Paulinho to end up at Bayern in the January window. Have you seen the Beckham documentary yet? No, I've got no time for David Beckham. None. Especially after the mountain of cash he took to support the Qatar World Cup. So I've no time for Beckham, to be honest with you. Nothing against the lad, you know. Great footballer, but not of interest to me to watch a documentary about him. Bayern are skint. Come again? Bayern Munich skint? I don't think that is the case. There might be a bit of a mess at the minute because there seems to be a lot of infighting at Bayern Munich behind the scenes, but They were very, at least to my understanding, they were a very well run club financially. What happened to the Musiala and Osimhen rumours? I never thought there was any truth to any of them, to be honest with you, mate. The Osimhen stuff, look, if we lost Salah and we needed to bring somebody in and we wanted to kind of change the style of way we play a bit, maybe, but I never ever for 1 second thought Jamal Musiala was a possibility to Liverpool. Bayern, I think there's only one club that'll get him out of there, and I think it's Real Madrid if they want them. How do we feel about Chris Kavanagh refereeing City? Well, Mark sent me some stats, mate, on games that we've had with Chris Kavanagh refereeing, and in 15 games we've won 13 and lost 2. And Manchester City's own record was, what was it Mark said to me? 8 games, 5 wins, 2 draws and 1 loss. So, yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, I'm okay about the idea of him refereeing the game. I'm more pissed off that the game's at 12:30 than anything else. Would you take Samuel Ricci? I have no idea who the fuck that is, mate. Sorry. Perez is just biding his time until they can retry the Super League. Oh, I don't even think it's that clandestine, mate. The Super League isn't dead yet. There is ongoing court cases to... Basically, the gist of the court case is that Madrid, Agnelli from Juventus, and Laporta from Barcelona are taking a case to say that UEFA has a monopoly on European football and that monopoly needs to be broken, and that it's against some type of, I don't know, fair play rules or fair trading rules, or all very complicated shit that I don't understand. But it isn't dead yet. Those court cases are still going through Spanish courts, I believe, at this moment, and probably European courts as well, outside of Spain. Who's going to replace Mo Salah when he leaves in January for the AFCON? Nobody. By that I mean we won't be bringing anybody in for that. You know, I think... Am I right in saying Mo only misses 2 league games for the AFCON? Again, absolutely open to being corrected on that. But I think we will... I think we'll see Elliott used there a little bit. I think we'll see Jota or Diaz used there a bit. Szoboszlai could be used there. I mean, we'll find solutions for that short period where Mo's away. He could miss both Chelsea and Arsenal game if he gets to the final. Yeah, I can't see them getting to the final this time. For me, I don't think... Actually, do you know what? I'm not going to claim I have an in-depth knowledge of the AFCON and what countries are there. I just remember when I watched Egypt, they basically played for penalties in most of the games I remember watching them in. Off the top of my head, would Senegal still be the favourites? I don't know. I'm not really up on African international football and what countries are doing well and what countries aren't at the minute. What's the loss of Salah to the AFCON? That will it derail our title challenge? I don't think so, not this time, because it's not that big. If I remember correctly, the fixtures he misses aren't the most daunting of games, off the top of my head. Morocco, yes, Morocco will certainly be a difficult nut to crack. They've got some good players. Senegal, Morocco and Algeria are the strongest in the moment of the AFCON. So yeah, I don't think Mo will be getting to the final anyway. What's the situation on a possible rematch? There is none. That's never happening, mate. the Tottenham situation's done and dusted. Look, all I personally ever wanted from that Spurs situation was it to be a teachable moment for the PGMOL and the referees and VAR. And it looks like it has been a catalyst for some change. They've certainly looked at the protocols and how they implement them, and they are reviewing that. So I think that's all we could have ever realistically hoped for from that mess from the Spurs game. Can Kwanzaa be our 6? I know it's very tempting to push a centre-back with some ball-playing skills into the number 6 position. But I think we need to start thinking about Kwanzaa being potentially one half of a centre-back partnership with Ibrahima Kanate after Verge moves on. So yeah, let's not wish him into a new position. Let's just hope he can settle in and stake a claim for his own. I mean, I read an interview with him recently, and you couldn't help but admire his beliefs that he still has a bit of way to go, that he wants to be thought of as one of the best players in the world, because to play at a club like Liverpool, in your position, you got to be one of those players. So the interview was really cool, and he came across as a very down-to-earth guy, and look, what a breakthrough season for Jarrell Kwanzaa this year. Craig, can you fathom a reality where Phil Foden could be a Salah replacement? Look, I'm a big fan of Phil Foden as a football player. I said this yesterday. But I can't see a world where Liverpool or Manchester City do business on Phil Foden. So no, I don't see that happening. But he's a really, really good footballer. What do you think that Liverpool-Brighton will be the 12:30 game, March? Do you think that Liverpool-Brighton will be the 12:30 game? I have no idea, mate, in March about what games might be. Now, what I can say to you is if you're thinking of going to the game, I think they have to give at least 4 weeks notice to TV companies when they do a change of times or fixtures, to the best of my knowledge. So, just really quickly on some possible live stuff for the summer. We're going through venues at the minute. My manager sent me some across today to look at, and I need some suggestions for a town in the Midlands. So anybody in the chat has a better grasp of UK geography than me. At the moment, we're thinking London, Liverpool, Cardiff, and either the Midlands or Glasgow. But I don't know where in the Midlands would be the best idea. Elliot played class tonight, man of the match, scored 2 quality goals. Nice one on that. Oh, Ireland were so close earlier. Ireland under 21s. Nanto scored a stoppage time equaliser for Italy to draw the game 2-2, which was heartbreaking. Because Ireland under 21s would have topped that group if they had have held on for that victory, but it was 2-2 in that game earlier on. Heartbreak. Tyler Morton played really well as well. 1 goal, 1 assist. Nice, good to hear. What about Rodrigo? He isn't liking life at Real Madrid. Well, he's just signed a new contract in the last month. So I think Rodrigo's future is very much set in stone at Real Madrid now. And he's a wonderful player. And, you know, as I said, I think 2028 is the new contract. But, you know, maybe the Madrid supporting friend in the chat can confirm that. But I know he definitely signed a new deal at Real Madrid. Got to be Nottingham so Sabrina can visit the City ground. I don't think she'll be coming, Brett. I think it'll just be myself and Connor plus whatever guest we have for that area. So we're trying to get specific guests for London, one for Liverpool, one for Wales, and then one for wherever else we do. Am I Scottish? I am not. I'm Irish, mate. Yes, Irish. Do you think Olise can be a Salah replacement? Depends what you mean by replacement. Do I think Olise could be good enough to play for Liverpool? Yes. Do I think Olise could ever replicate Mo's numbers? No. But Then again, there aren't many who could. Do you prefer Decore or Andre at Liverpool? Andre. Yeah. I'm very, very much like the snidiness of Andre as well as his footballing capability. As somebody said yesterday, and very correctly, he loves a yellow card as well. I don't know if anyone will agree, but I'd rather get Leao than Mbappe. Is that stupid? Well, no, he's a wonderful player, Mario. I just think he's settled at this moment in time at AC Milan and certainly feels comfortable there from what I've read. Why is there so many Irish Liverpool fans? Really easy answer, mate. So, when Irish people had to emigrate and leave Ireland for work, when there was no work here, the boat left Dublin and landed in Liverpool. It was the first stop. So Irish people got off the boat and went to Liverpool and went into Liverpool, and a lot of them settled there, worked there, started their families there. So there's so many similarities, you know, between Scousers and Irish people. Look at the names, you know, your Rooneys, your Carragers, all this stuff. Look at Scouse, which is basically an Irish stew. It is a very, I don't want to say it's an Irish city, but it pretty much is. Yeah, we're basically one and the same. So that's why I keep saying to people when they slag off Irish people as day trippers or whatever, like, we are pretty much the same people. What about Nonto, the guy similar to Doku? I scored twice today actually for Italy against Ireland as well. One penalty and one from open play. There's a lot of Irish United fans. Absolutely, a huge amount. I would say they're the most supported club in Ireland probably, but the question I was asked was, why was there so many Liverpool Irish fans? And I answered that question. It's on YouTube. Okay, thank you, Mr. Palmer. I will. I'll give that a watch. I definitely am interested in looking into that one. Look, calling Scouse an Irish Jew hasn't won you any brownie points in Liverpool. I don't care. It's a fact. I'm not wrong. Do you know what I mean? It is an Irish stew, mate. I'm not wrong. But, as I said, we're one and the same, pal. And I love the Scouse sense of humour. It's very Irish. You know, we're both very witty groups of people. I think Irish and Scouse people. Very proud people. Very opinionated people. And very strong in our beliefs and our morals. That's how I view the similarities between us Irish and our Scouse brothers and sisters. Will Rubber Ducky's foot injury have miraculously cleared up? You know it will, Dave. There's no way Rodri, Haaland and Ederson aren't going to be playing. I mean, maybe Ederson, worst case scenario, but 100% Haaland will be floating his way up the Bath to play that game. Right, my friends, I'm going to say goodnight. Lots of love to you all. I will see you tomorrow. Myself and Adam, I think, are going to be live at 5 o'clock tomorrow on Top of the League. And then I'll be back on here tomorrow night as always, where we will start to look ahead to the game against Saturday. Tonight, don't forget, 11:30, Darwin is going to be in action with Uruguay. And then at 12:30, I think it is, we've got the massive game between Argentina and Brazil. So do check out those games and see how our lads get on. And hopefully no more injuries and they all get home and ready for the game on Saturday. So look, love to you guys. Talk to you soon. Don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and thank you again for your time tonight. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.